Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I am Barry P. Cook. I want to talk to you about the season 3 finale of Titans, which was called Purple Rain. It starts off with Crane telling the GCPD, at least the goons that are on his payroll from the GCPD, that they can do whatever they want with Barbara. And he starts getting his bombs ready. The regular cops, not on his payroll, go in after Barbara, who had escaped jail and fled to the Oracle room. But her number one, V, takes them out and offers to help Barbara. It turns out that she's likely Amanda Waller, having been sent by Argus. And she tells Barbara about the pit and that Dick has been resurrected before revealing that she has brought some other people with her to help. She doesn't come right out and say that she's Amanda Waller, but she does say that V is not necessarily her real name. And I think she's Amanda Waller. She's from Argus. Who else is she going to be? Anyway, Tim, Donna, and Tim's family are still fighting the GCPD, who are firing on them like crazy when Raven and Gar show up and save their bacon. Tim goes to leave with his family after that, but his mom tells him no, Gotham needs you, and he ends up going with the Titans. Connor tells Blackfire that he didn't mean to blow up her ship, and she lets it go, but Starfire is still pissed, and she starts to storm off, but she gets a call from Barbara. Dick, meanwhile, drops Jason off, saying he can't take him back to the Titans just yet, and to meet him here back where they are in 3 hours if he doesn't hear from him. Barbara and V, again, aka Amanda Waller probably, rally the Titans to a Chinatown rendezvous, and Crane taunts Dick about the 10 bombs before blowing one of them up and taking out a bunch of civilians. The Titans and Tim try to work out where the bombs are based on clues from a poem that Crane had alluded to. Starfire wants to expose the whole city to the Lazarus Pit to save the dead people, but what? Dick realizes the whole thing is a trick to get them to look for the bombs, and he decides to attack the Batcave with the help of the Argus satellite. Crane, meanwhile, is losing it, sitting in the Batcave singing If I Only Had a Brain. Connor wants to create a storm from the Lazarus Pit to make it rain down so that everyone will be saved. So he's kind of going along with Blackfire or Starfire's idea. I forget which one of them had the idea. Gar goes to the manor to interact with a router or a wall panel in the manor so they can take over the computer remotely and stop Crane's plans. Jason, meanwhile, gets himself grabbed by the GCPD at the manor as part of the plan to get him inside so that he can help with the effort to retake the manor and get rid of Crane. Raven and the Fires, that's Blackfire and Starfire, try to use the pit to save people that were killed. They carry it over to a central location in the city and they raise it up into the air in a ball. It was kind of weird, actually. Meanwhile, Gar gets into the mansion and Jason takes out the GCPD guys before they start accessing the computer remotely. And it turns out that the computer code is Selina Kyle. How interesting. Nightwing then drops in and drops a bunch of the cops, including one who had gotten him in his sights, but he turns around and hits him with a Nightwing, what do you call it there, shuriken kind of thing, and takes him out. Just before Tim and Jason and Gar go into the Batcave to get Crane, Jason bows out and says, this is a Titans mission, I'm going to go my own way. And Dick's like, okay. The Fires and Raven raise the pit, as I said, over Gotham with Connor's help. They sort of turn it into a brewing storm, but Donna needs to hit it with her lasso to make it work. And then Purple Rain starts to fall down. It revives everyone. But how is it that she was able to channel lightning, which she does? It travels down the lasso and encompasses her. When last season she died because a sign fell on her. What? It didn't make sense. And neither did the way she died to begin with, but this just compounded the nonsensicalness. Anyway, Dick ends up locking Crane out of the computer and he lets Tim take him down, which Tim does epically. You tried to kill my father, prepared to die, basically. And he punches him. Bruce returns to a mess at the manor and reconciles with Dick, who he credits with saving Gotham, which Dick says he initially failed at, but got a second chance and figured it out. Jason shows up as well, and he talks with Bruce, saying he's not going to go back to his pre-Hood life. And Bruce says, well, we've all crossed lines. And Jason then asks him if killing the Joker was for him, and Bruce says yes. Okay. It turns out that Blackfire's ship is going to be rebuilt. They're going to use a 3D printer and, I guess, schematics and rebuild it. And so she'll get her ship back. Okay, so why did they blow it up at all? Like, what was the point of that? Like, I don't know what the point of that was at all. Amanda then runs into Donna and asks her to give her a call at Argus. Dick and Barbara talk, and it turns out that Oracle may be brought back with the help of the Argus satellite. Dick and the Titans then decide to head back to San Francisco by RV instead of jet, except Donna, who says she's off to see Dawn with a message from Hank, who, don't forget, she saw in the afterlife. The Fires reconcile with each other, and Connor learns that there may be a way for him to breathe on Tamaran after all, so that he can visit. Tim thinks he's not going to be going with the Titans, but Dick invites him, saying he shows promise but needs training, so he doesn't end up suiting up at all this season, which kind of sucks. Before hitting the road, though, Dick stops off at Arkham with Rachel to see Crane, who vows to escape, but then Rachel gives him like a nightmare worm for lunch, basically. She spits out this like black wormy thing, and it goes into Crane and basically gives him nightmares. Pretty cool, actually. I think this episode was good in terms of being the finale of the season. They wrapped up a bunch of stuff and everything ended well, so that was good. But it took them way too long to get here, especially because of what they ended up doing. I know, let's just break into the Wayne Manor and punch Crane in the face. And that'll do it. Like, what? Why didn't they do that several episodes ago? They have a Superboy. For all intents and purposes, they have Wonder Woman. Well, they didn't the whole time, but like, they did for a couple of episodes. Why did they drag that out? Like, what? Why didn't they just do it immediately? Forget Wonder Woman. Forget even Raven. They had Superboy. Like, what? They knew where he was this whole time. Like, what was holding them back? I don't understand. Just go in there and kick his ass. Like, when they finally end up doing it, they never say anything like, oh, what if he has kryptonite? We can't take Connor. That doesn't come up, so that was never a concern. Like, what? Just go do it. It's not like they didn't know where he was. They knew where he was. I don't understand it. This season had promise in the beginning. We had Jason being killed and then somehow brought back to life, but we didn't know how. And then he becomes Red Hood. He gets in league with Scarecrow, which is all great. And you're like, oh, wow, this is going to be cool. And then it all just falls apart. Crane at one point poisons the water of Gotham, and you hear about, oh my God, this is terrible. And the city gets sealed off, but we never see the effects of it. We never really see what it did to anybody. And never mind the fact that this is kind of a rehash of the Dark Knight plot, where the city was sealed off and everybody's crazy, it's lawless. It's a rehash of that. And they didn't even show any of it. Like, at least in The Dark Knight Rises, you see where they have this kangaroo court and all this stuff and militias patrolling the streets, but none of that. It was really dumb. Crane during the season gets access to the Bat computer, presumably by using Jason's codes, even though we know Bruce would have changed them the moment Jason was killed. But he never does anything with the Bat computer except he like plays music and watches videos and stuff. I mean, he goes through some of Bruce's files, but like, he doesn't do anything. You've got control of the Bat computer. Like, really? And does the same thing to Oracle. He hacks Oracle, but he never does anything with it. Now, Barbara like shuts it down, but you'd think he would have, the first thing he would have done when he hacked it was block her out. Like, what? But he doesn't. So he ends up not being able to use that either. We see Tim Drake in the beginning of the season, and then he disappears for multiple episodes. Like, what? I mean, they could have had him spend more time with the Titans, show him in the field, show him sort of learning the ropes, either because they're training him on purpose or he's like absorbing it through being there. They don't show that at all. They don't do that at all. He's just nowhere for most of the season after showing up in the beginning. He ends up kicking one guy because he saw how to do it on YouTube. And then in the end, he punches Crane. Like, what? That's it. That's so dumb. And, you know, this only happens, like I said, after they knew where Crane was the whole time. And after Jason gets disillusioned with Crane and leaves and goes back and leaves and goes back. And I didn't get it. Gar enters Wayne Manor through a window, which apparently wasn't secured, either by arguably the most richest man in the world who happens to be Batman. And the only security was, oh, if you come in through the window, there's an alarm. Like, really? And Crane doesn't do anything to secure the property, like, so that the Titans couldn't get in through a window? Like, really? I mean, it's absurd that they even started to look for the bombs to begin with, before realizing, hey, why are we looking for the bombs? Why can't we just use Superboy to infiltrate the Wayne Manor? Like, what? And Starfire and Blackfire, they had them as well. Like, what? I know I said this already, but like, what? This thing should have been over the moment they knew that Crane was in the Batcave. There should have been one episode after that, maybe two, where they just go in and take him out. But they dragged it out with all the crazy stuff. And you'd think, okay, if there was a reason why they're not going to do that, that's fine. You know, like if they infiltrate Wayne Manor or whatever, something out of there, like that they can't stop will go off, something somewhere, you know, and he does have the bombs, but like, I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't understand why they didn't do that. And where was Lady Vic? They brought her in for one episode. Like, it's not a big deal, but it's just weird that here's Lady Vic, and don't get out of line, Red Hood, because she can kill you. But nothing happens. He never ends up having to fight her. Even all the times he's like, fuck you, Crane, and he takes off. Never has to fight Lady Vic. She never comes for him. Nothing. Dumb. And it took way too long to bring Donna and Raven back. Like, what? Why did that take like 9 episodes? Why? I don't understand why. All the stuff they were doing all the time, they could have just brought them back. Like, why? Why did it take so long? Very annoying. And, you know, it was never clear exactly what Crane was trying to do. Like, at one point, he's trying to prove to his mother that he's not like a giant goober or whatever. He's trying to get back at the Titans or get back at Batman or just scare people. It's not really clear what he's trying to do. Take control of the city. He talks about he's saving the city, but he basically fucks the city over by blowing it up. How are you going to save the city? It just did not make any sense. And he and Jason argued constantly like an old married couple. Like I said before, they break up and get back together multiple times. Jason never does anything remotely villainous except, he kills Hank. But that's back when the season still was showing promise. And then he kills one prison guard, I think, and a few of the crime boss's relatives. That's all he does. The rest of the time, he's just whining and he doesn't do anything. He wasn't Red Hood, if you ask me. And there were just a bunch of other dumb things. So I don't know. I just feel like it could have been way better. A way better season. You know what? It's like the whole thing was written by a very amateur fan fiction writer and then produced with an HBO Max budget, which for some reason still didn't include any money apparently to have Superboy fly or have either of the fires like fly. So I don't know. They drove around in a van everywhere in cars. Like, what? He can fly. Anyway, not great. I mean, going along, I liked a lot of the, you know, I guess you could say Easter eggs or references to great DC events and great DC characters. It's great to see these characters in live action when they're suited up and whatnot, but like, I don't know. They should have had Wonder Girl, aka Donna, in it more. They should have had Raven in it more. The plot was just so stupid. They stretched it out way too long. It should have been over, what was it, like 13 episodes, 14 episodes? It should have been like 9. He was in, they knew where he was. And what they eventually did, they could have done it any time. Yet they let it play out for so long. It was so like, if you're going to drag it out like that, you know where he is, but you're not going in to get him. Okay. So in the end, you have to do something other than, hey, I got an idea. Let's storm the place. Like, you could have done that at any time. So if you're not doing that for like 6 episodes, 7 episodes, when clearly you could, you don't then end up doing exactly that at the end, because it makes the audience go, why didn't you do that 6 episodes ago? They should have done something grandiose that you go, wow, where you don't look at it and go, they could have done that at any time. Something that they finally figured out how to, a good way to get him. They finally figured out something to take him down. Good for them. They figured it out. No, they just stormed the place. Like, they couldn't figure that out 6 episodes ago. Like, what? Like I said, I enjoyed it while it was on. for some of the elements, but it just ultimately ended badly, and it was just a mess, really. So I don't know. Here's hoping season 4 is better. Who knows what's going to happen with Bruce Wayne? Is he going to continue to be Batman? Is he not going to continue to be Batman? Is he just going to hang around? Are we even going to hear about him? We still don't know how it is that Donna knew he was trying to kill himself. They never explained that. Anyway, that's my review. I'll be back with more content soon. Until then, my friends, I wish you all peace and long life.